Hello there, right here we got a brand new snapshot for 1.19 Wild Update. This is 22W16A, and in it we get some brand new items, as well as a sneak peek to where this portal actually goes. And at the end of the video, we'll take a look at some really crazy stuff you could do with the Warden Sonic attack. So make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and let's get into it. Guys, we got a brand new music disc in the game, but it doesn't come as a full disc. Instead, when looting these chests in the ancient cities, there's a chance of you finding the new disc fragments. And if you have at least 9 of these, you can go ahead and craft the disc up, which produces an actual new disc, which is called Music Disc 5 by Samuel. Let's go ahead and play it. Wow, that was a really crazy music disc. We heard a lot in that music from the journey of the player coming here into the ancient city, coming across the warden, also coming up to this portal, sounding like it's using flint and steel, possibly going through a portal, also meeting a new monster, and also going into another portal, also potentially this one, and eventually making its way onto the surface of Minecraft. It does remind me of some of the other music discs that kind of tell a story, but because the story is about the ancient cities, the wardens, and this portal, it may give us a glimpse into what's on the other side of this. What tidbits did you pick up from listening to the music? Not every music disc has a unique redstone signal that is given off when it's being placed inside of a note block, and it looks like this one makes it this far. And since that means we got a total of 15 music discs, they cannot actually add any more music discs without them not having a unique power with using a comparator. Besides the actual new music disc, they also came out with 4 new music tracks called Ancestry, Eerie, Firebugs, and Labyrinth. These are played in the main menu as well as specific biomes. Now, a couple days ago, I put out a video going over some potential ways to improve allays. And today they came out with some new improvements. So they went ahead and they tweaked it so that the Lays will now have 20 health instead of 10. They also changed the amount of time between Lays can pick up items. So now it is 3 seconds instead of 5 seconds. So they'll be much faster at picking up a new item after already picking up one. They also can search out as far as 32 blocks away from their location looking for that particular item. They increased their movement speed, so now when they're idle, they just kind of sit there, move kind of slow, but when they're actually going after a particular item, they'll move fast to grab it and drop it off at either the player or at the note block. They also added a arch for the lay when it's throwing items that's more predictable. Speaking of predictability, they also made stuff less random in the extreme cases, which makes stuff like droppers and dispensers more predictable. They won't have it once in a while shoot an item that's really off to one direction. Did the same thing for items when they come popping out of containers. They would sometimes end up going really weird directions and getting stuck in different places. They did this for the following range of mobs, which does probably mean that the rarest types of zombies and zombified piglins are no longer so extreme. If you want to learn about how insanely rare some of those can get, check out this video here. They did this to the velocity of horses when spawned in as trapped horses. They also did this for the projectiles of the blaze and made arrows' velocity as well as damage more predictable. This is something I've used in the past to do large amounts of damage to mobs, but with these changes I should be able to come in and tweak the design for more consistency. This also applies to the flight pattern of fireworks and the bobbing patterns and the timing for fishing with fishing rods. Overall, I think this is pretty good because in most cases you don't want stuff to be too extreme to the point where it becomes annoying. They also added it so frogs can spawn on grass, mud, moss carpets, as well as mangrove roots and even the muddy mangrove roots. And they now have it so that the pistons can move frog lights just as intended. They also did some technical changes with them updating the library, and they came in with the F3 screen and added in a heap memory allocation metric in the top right hand corner so you can see exactly how much is being used. For those of you guys that don't like the warden, you can actually do a new game rule called do warden spawning, and you can set that to default so they won't be able to spawn in the game. Now let's take a look at some bug fixes which change the gameplay. Allays will now drop items that they had in their hands when they die, unlike before. Allays have this cool animation where their arms will move back and forth and they will bob up and down. Now they added it so they will also do this while they're flying through the air. In Bedrock, they have a special flying animation where they kind of go airline when they fly. This is now added into Java. They also changed the detection system for Allays, so now they could detect the same distance as in the Bedrock edition, where before in Java they can only look out about 8 blocks. They also added in so Allays will now have their special Allay dust particle produced by them. These guys also no longer have a chance of despawning even if you give these guys an item and they've yet to pick up an item on their own. They also fixed the problems of Allay trying to give items out to spectator players, so now they'll no longer be bothered. When these mangrove trees were being grown up, something like too tall grass would not get updated. You can see this piece of grass was sitting directly on top of this root, so now we'll be able to pop off. Fix another bug that I reported to do with observers not being able to detect the mangrove roots when the trees grow in. This should fix a problem that I ran across when designing my mangrove tree farm, using observers to detect the roots being placed in, so we know when to actually take down the tree. I'll be trying to finish this farm today on stream, and here on my testing server with you guys, the viewers. This is all thanks to Bisect Hosting, where you guys can get your very own Minecraft server, and for 25% off if you use my code RAY or the link in the description, and this helps me out. They added it so frog lights will now be visible on maps when placed down. When a water source was placed inside of frog lights, for some reason it was sitting much lower down than other blocks, which is now changed. Despite you being able to place most blocks against or on top of other light sources, you couldn't do this to frog lights, which now you can. Frog lights were like other blocks in the game, but they weren't acting this way when placed beside a cactus. So now we'll pop it off. Despite other stuff in buckets making a noise and placed in, tadpoles weren't making any, which they went ahead and fixed. Despite most mobs being able to walk through doors in Minecraft, frogs were not able to, so they fixed that. They also resolved this problem with striders and turtles. They also fixed a similar problem with axolotls. They also made it so axolotls are smarter when they try to pathfind to water sources. They don't just hop down any hole that is between them and the water. They fixed the warden's sniffing animation, so it won't occur while the warden's wandering. Wardens will also no longer try to attack stuff outside the world border, or get distracted by hearing things out there. And it will no longer be able to actually spawn outside. It was also changed so now you can kill the warden even if it's digging out of the ground or digging back in. They also changed it so the warden will no longer spawn in really narrow areas, as before it could immediately spawn in and be suffocated. In the ancient cities, these city centers come in 3 different types, but one type was a little bit shorter, which they now made the same as others. They moved around the new mangrove logs so that they're in the correct order for the creative menu. Parrots can imitate other mobs, and when they do so, they will have a subtitle showing this, but some subtitles were wrong, like when the parrot would imitate an elder guardian, it would say that it would be flapping. They changed 3 things to do with paintings. Paintings will now update their data without having to reload chunks. Paintings not doing well when given different types of NBT tags, as well as fixing some spelling errors. They fixed a few bugs with the social interaction screen. They also fixed this bug that I reported about a year ago that I noticed when building my squid farm here, which was axolotls would try to pathfind if there was 2 walls on top of each other. But if there was a single wall, they wouldn't try to go through it. Now this bug is fixed, but this bug here is still not fixed where squid and fish spawning doesn't work in some location. It's a really strange bug, and so far no one has been able to figure out why this is broken in game, which just occurred with 1.18.2. So maybe one of you guys can figure it out. I'll have this report linked in the description. Now, some interesting things about the Warden's sonic attack. Okay, so we got a Warden, we got Wither, Wither's attacking the Warden. Hopefully the Warden will use his sonic attack to kill the Wither. Oh, he did take off some health. Oh, but then he regens it. Yeah, I think the Warden is just a little bit too slow at doing those attacks. He might slowly kill it over time. Oh, looks like the Wither won. Warden got him down to melee stage, but was no match for the Wither. So the Warden can shoot up as high as 40 blocks, which makes its attack range like a cylinder. Attack is also instant, and it only hits the target which is going after. So if you're within 20 blocks of the Warden, you get the darkness effect, and if you come in within 16 blocks of him, it can then do a sonic range attack, which is insane. But you can still attack the Warden from a distance, so his range attack doesn't hurt you. Kind of like what you could do with Withers. The Sonic Boom can be blocked with a shield, which is really useful, but it also knocks the shield down. But since there's a cooldown between each attack, you can't get it back up again. The delay between Sonic Booms is 5 seconds, and there's a 10-second cooldown when it switches targets. This is crazy. They take a little while to warm up their Sonic Boom, but then when they do it, it's just like laser zipping through the air, destroying Withers. It's knocking the back, like it really sends it backwards. That's really cool. This reminds me of like those tower defense games. You just get so many towers that just end up zapping stuff. They got a whole bunch of Wardens around where the dragon's about to perch. Here comes the dragon. Let's see how this turns out. Dragon's making tons of noises, knocking the Wardens about, really making them mad. They're all trying to get close, but they can't because they get pushed about. Now they're all chasing after it. Oh my goodness. Oh, wow, they really knocked back the dragon. Okay, here comes the dragon. They come down low. Oh, I just get sonic blasted. What the heck? The dragon got knocked back so far. I don't think the dragon's ever going to be able to perch, because every time it tries, it just gets launched back up again. Oh, where did the dragon go? Where did the dragon go? It just vanished. Oh, it got sent so high. That's so crazy. Now come join me on Twitch where we'll be exploring this newest snapshot, and you're even able to join me in game. Besides Wednesdays, I also stream Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays at around 2 p.m. for at least 2 hours. I'm excited for 1.19. What are you guys looking forward about it? Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.